Hi, this is Deanne DeMarco, and today I would like to talk to you about three quick tips on how to resolve conflict conversations. So, the first thing I would like to talk to you about is the first one is there are two parts to conflict. There is reason and emotion. The R stands for reason and the E stands for emotion. This is the the DeMarco conflict model. So the way this works is that in order to resolve conflict, you must go through the emotional part first before you get to reason. Let me just hide this here. Oops. Let me hide this here so there's more room. So there's two parts, emotion and reason. And the only way to resolve conflict is you must enter through emotion before you can get to reason. Now this bar is a floating bar. When this bar floats this way, that means the emotion side is big, and that's when you see a lot of people acting out in anger and conflict. And when this bar floats this way, emotion is small and reason is big. And that's when you can actually get to resolution. So, the first tip is understanding that there are two parts to every single conflict conversation. One is reason, and the other is emotion. Tip number two, there's a difference between men and women in conflict. I know you didn't know that one, right? But let me just talk about that a little bit more. All right, so taking a look at our conflict model. Now, ladies, I don't want to see a whole bunch of hate emails, but you tend to stick in the emotional side a little bit longer than men do. And men, I don't want a lot of hate mail from you either, but men, you tend to ignore the emotional side and you want to go right to reason. Doesn't work that way. The only way to resolve conflict successfully is to enter through emotion first, acknowledge the emotion, and then go to the reasoning side. And when you can do that, that bar slides down and the emotion gets smaller and the reason gets bigger, and you can actually resolve the conflict. So let's talk about that a little bit better, a little bit more. So, in working with men versus women, I don't care if it's a woman versus a woman communicating with a woman or a man communicating with a woman. Women just tend to hang out in that emotional side a little bit longer. So you can say something like, I can see you're frustrated. I can see that whatever it is upsets you. Um, would you like to talk about it? Would you like me to help you? And just a simple phrase of, I can see this is frustrating for you. I can see that you're angry. I can see that this is a problem, something on that order. Can I help? Or how would you like my help? Or how can I help you? Would be some great ways of resolving that. Now, men who tend to ignore emotion side typically, you need to start in the emotional side too. Now, you don't need to stay there very long, but you do need to acknowledge it. Just say, hey, Joe, I understand this is really upsetting for you. I can see that you're really angry. You're very concerned about this. And then go on to the reasoning piece. You want my help in solving this, or what are you going to do next, or something on that order, whatever that situation might be. So, tip number two is understand there's a differences between men and women in conflict, in that women tend to stay in the emotional side a little bit longer, and men tend to ignore emotion and tend to go to reason. There's one more piece, and this is mainly for the men. A lot of times women, when they are in a conflict situation, will talk out loud, and sometimes they don't want your help. So, men, the best thing you can do is say, Jane, Susie, honey, whatever the situation might be, I can see this is really upsetting you. Do you want my help? Or how can I help you? And then sometimes she might say, "No, I don't want your help." Because sometimes women will verbalize out loud a problem to try and self brainstorm in solving in solving the problem. The other thing you need to be aware of is that there are words that calm people and there are words that make the conflict worse. So usually in my training classes or in when I do conflict mediation work for teams or executive teams, I distribute these little cards. One side is, I don't know if you can see it, words and phrases that calm, and the other one is words and phrases to avoid. And so there are certain things that you can say that actually will make the conflict worse, and there's other things that you can say that will actually help with the conflict. For example, words and phrases to avoid would be things like, you need to, or I want you to, or I'll try, or, just don't ask. Things like that. You're on a waiting list. I don't know about you, but I hate that one. Other things like where there's been a lay or there's something been lost or, oh, we neglected to tell you. I don't like that one either. Some of the words and phrases to calm are things like, we made a mistake. Do not use the word error because that is not a word that calms. Is we made a mistake. Most people make mistakes, so we made a mistake. I'm sorry. Apologize. How can I help? That's one of my favorite ones. I can see why you're upset. It's not that you understand, because unless you walked in the person's shoes, you really don't understand. But I can see why you're upset. Is a better way of phrasing that. I would like to work with you. Would you like me to work with you? How can I help? There are options or thanks or I'd like to help you investigate that. Would you like me to investigate that? So there's a lot of different words that you can use. And I actually have I made a PDF of this for you that you can actually download. And I'll give that to you in a minute. So the third step I want to talk to you about is acknowledge and take the lead. And I've referenced this just already a little bit today. So acknowledge and take the lead. So you're going to acknowledge the emotional piece and then take the lead. So the acknowledgement is something simpler of, I can see you're frustrated. I can see you're upset. I can see you're angry. I can see you're concerned. So you mentioned just something that ties into that emotional piece and then take the lead. How can I help? Would you like me to listen? Would you like to tell me more? Uh, would you like me to help you solve this problem? Would you like me to solve the problem? So take the lead on moving toward a resolution piece. So those are three quick tips. There's a lot of them, but I want to give you three quick ones. The first one that most people do not recognize is that there is reason and emotion in every single conflict conversation. Reason and emotion. This bar is a sliding bar. Um, if, if it's up, the emotion side is big. If it comes down, the reason side is big. That men and women tend to have approach conflict sometimes a little bit differently. And the third piece, you just need to acknowledge and then take the lead. I do have this PDF for you that has all these words and phrases that you can use for calming or words that you should avoid so you don't make the conflict worse. For you, I'll put it in the chat section. Let me just do that now. It's in the chat section. So put that in. And the other way that you can get to that is to simply go to breakingboundaries.com, www.breakingboundaries.com. Up on the top where it has all the little tabs, just go over to the media tab, click on the media tab, and that PDF is right there for you. And you can click it and download it and use that. So that probably the easiest way to do it. Or you can go on the link in the chat that I have for you, or just go to www.breakingboundaries, and that's a breaking-boundaries.com. Go over to the media tab and download the PDF. Well, until next time, I hope you have a great day. Thanks. Bye for now.